Reality is an experimental short film exploring the emotional divide between fiction and reality in the American sitcom. Winner of the Best Experimental Short at the 2024 Oxford Film Festival, this film was written, directed, and produced by Philip Thompson. Join me now in conversation with Philip Thompson.
My film is Living Reality, and it played in the Fest Forward experimental block, and I'm the director, writer, and producer of the film.
Cool. Tell me a little bit about what happens in your film and why you entered it in the experimental block.
My film takes place within the guise of like a fictional sitcom, kind of like Friends or How I Met Your Mother or something like that. And it's kind of like you watch a sitcom for like 5 minutes, and then you watch something that might be closer to what our real lives are like for like the same amount of time. And so, I don't know, because it's kind of there's not really a narrative. I wouldn't call it a real narrative film, even though some people would call it. They'd say, oh, there's a main character through the film. It's like a narrative film. I put it in the experimental block because it's something that you have to watch a little bit differently. It's something that is about us watching it. And I don't know, that's the stuff I kind of like to make. So that's kind of why I felt like it would fit in the experimental block for this festival.
All right. So, Living Reality, you have this sort of sitcom premise to start off with, but then you take it some places, and it gets a little surreal at the same time that it feels very real. I was hoping that you could talk to me about some of the sequences where you're just watching somebody have a conversation or you go about their day.
Yeah. So a lot of the second half of the film all the second half of the film is totally unscripted. And I like that in comparison to something that is a very rigid, tight script that we rehearsed and we practiced. But then the second half of the film is way more loose and kind of unconventional. And so that stuff I live in Brooklyn, and I just have friends that are my age, and we all just hang out, have conversations, at the park, or we're watching TV and stuff like that. And I kind of wanted to just kind of capture that stuff, the stuff that I would do with my friends on a regular basis. Have beers on the roof, and then talk about life and everything. So a lot of that was basically I would have actor friends or non-actor friends, and we'd kind of discuss something that happened in their lives. Or I'd kind of come up with a scene that was for something that would be similar to what's going on with them. Like in one of the sequences at the end, there's like a breakup scene where like someone's on their fire escape, having a phone call, having a breakup. And that's something that like that person was really going through at the time. So we kind of felt like, this is something you're going through. This is a real thing that is not captured in TV the way it should be. Let's just do it. Let's just kind of reenact what is going on right now. And so that was kind of a lot of the sequences, just reenactments of, okay, you guys are a couple. Let's shoot you guys in bed. What is it like your process getting into bed? And stuff like that. So it is stuff that's like loosely sculpted off of real stuff. But it's kind of planned, but for the most part, it's very free flowing. Yeah. I don't know if that answered your question.
It does.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect.
So I made a note. My reaction when I watched your film for the first time, it made me feel sad.
Yeah.
I'm curious, does that surprise you, or was that something that you expected?
So I wrote the film I wrote it summer 2022. It was kind of just what I was going through, how I was feeling. I thought I was happy when I wrote it, but I guess I wasn't. And making the film, that was kind of the hardest part, is like understanding that is what the ending of the film is what I always set out for it to be. And so that was always the natural conclusion. Not to spoil anything, but like, not that he doesn't go crazy. There's not any kind of crazy ending. It ends the way it would naturally end. And I think that's what was disappointing for a lot of people, because I think we expect our heroes to overcome great adversity and to overcome and change something. Just like in movies, everything changes all the time. Like, the inciting incident needs to happen where something, and they make a change in their life. And of course we like that, but it's like a lot of the time in life we just kind of stay the course of whatever is going on. And so that was the hard thing, especially watching it with this group for the first time, and I showed it to some friends like last month. And watching it in a group, I did feel a collective kind of sadness in a way that was a little bit uncomfortable for me, because I do know, people don't want to be sad at the movies. They want to get a great story or something, and then they want to come out feeling inspired. I feel like that's always a good feeling. But to leave a theater just bummed, I don't know. It's not exactly it's what I set out to do, but in the way it's not. It does kind of suck, but no, it doesn't suck. It's art,
Yeah, it's okay for art to make us sad.
Yeah, but that's kind of we tried different endings, tried to rework different stuff, but we always ended up going back to that one, and that's kind of just how it is. And I hope that it's a bummer though. It's a real bummer.
That's not to say there's not some comedy in there.
Yeah.
And you clearly took some inspiration from How I Met Your Mother. I recognize the title cards.
Yeah.
Very much emblematic of that.
Yeah, just copy paste,
yeah.
basically.
What other influences would you say helped you thinking about this film?
Yeah. Well, definitely. I was raised on watching sitcoms. That was like my first real love of like television. Was just like I'll watch. Oh, we were definitely inspired by Friends, like the archetypes of the characters and stuff like that. But that sense of humor is there's something about the rhythm of sitcoms that I love, and there's something, sometimes it doesn't even really matter what people say, it's just in the way they say it, and if you put a laugh at the end, it's kind of funny. So I don't know, I grew up just watching so much. I'm a Disney, Nickelodeon kind of kid. So I grew up watching like Drake and Josh and iCarly and like, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. And there's kind of, the jokes in those shows are very dumb. They're not really, there's some smart jokes, but a lot of it are stupid. But it's just in the rhythm of the way they say them that kind of, I don't know, it's seeped into my brain. So a lot of my jokes and a lot of my sense of humor, I think, does kind of weirdly come from that place. So when I was writing the sitcom stuff, it wasn't like, I don't know, it just kind of spilled out. It just all was like, this is exactly how these shows do it. And this is exactly their kind of sense of humor. And it wasn't, I didn't do that many drafts of it. We punched up some jokes, but I always kind of knew, like, I just love sitcoms. It's just, that's before I wanted to be a filmmaker, I wanted to be like a sitcom writer. That's what I wanted when I was like 10. So that's just always something. I wrote sitcoms when I was a kid. I was like 12 and like trying to get my friends to be in these weird internet sitcoms. They're dumb. But it's like, that's always something I've loved. So that's just something that I was able to do, Yeah.
Cool. So I guess my last question, why did you pick the Oxford Film Festival?
Great question. I picked the Oxford Film Festival because I've just heard so many great things about it. And I just heard, I don't know, it brings a great community of filmmakers together. Also, it's been going on for 21 years, and like that's a very impressive thing. It's not easy to have a festival run for 21 years. And I just have heard that it just brings a great, like the community of Oxford comes out. And that's the thing, like it's great to have film people come to stuff, of course, but it's also great to see like what regular, everyday people who don't go to the movies all the time, or maybe it's not their number one passion, but they'll give this film festival a chance. Maybe they'll see something they like. And I love that I love that aspect of Oxford. And it's been a great time so far.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to shout out?
No, not really. No, not really, honestly.
Well, Philip, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate it.